My God, leftists, they're superhuman. I mean, they have the ability of Charles Xavier to read minds, to peer into a person's soul. So high intelligent, if you're a leftist, like way, way above average IQ. The ability to read minds, the ability to peer into a person's souls, all of these three things you can have if you become a progressive. So what am I talking about? Well, the Prime Minister of Australia is into hot water. No, not because he forced people to stay into their homes, not because he forces people to show documents, to show papers when they want to go to a restaurant or to have a normal life. You have like papieren bieten everywhere in Australia. It's like playing papers, please. No, that's not a problem, okay? The problem is that he eats white bread, okay? And because he eats white bread, this is a comment which shows a deep lack of understanding. Man, like when I went to med school and to law school, you had to study and then you had to show the professor that you have an understanding of the subject. And what you had to do was you would have to take usually this exam that lasted for like 30 or 40 minutes, through which the professor would get you through all of the courses and to see if you understand what has been taught. But a leftist, man, like a progressive, an intelligent person can just like from one comment, they can see if a person has a fundamental grasp of understanding or a lack of understanding. Do you understand how powerful these leftists are? Oh my God. You know what? They should run society. You should put them in charge, because they're like, if aliens would come to Earth, you know, like in that movie The Predator, where they were looking for that one kid which had autism to steal his autism gene to enrich the predators, they would go for the leftists. I mean, seriously. So apparently the prime minister was asked like what type of bread he eats, and he said, well, he eats white bread. And apparently this did not go unnoticed and formed a talking point on ABC panel show The Drum. One of the show's guests sent a social media into a spin when she embarked on a rather bizarre explanation, saying that I think the comment about the white bread was really interesting. And this is, by the way, like, I just want you to understand, this is not a random person. No, it's a professor, okay? Through the hard labor of the taxpayer money, this professor has food on their table so that they don't have to work, but instead they have to think. And they think so hard. Like, they think so hard on the meaning of the universe that this professor for indigenous policy at the University of Technology, because yes, like indigenous policy and technology go hand in hand, came up like, who eats white bread in this country? Anglo men, boom, white supremacy. That's how you find them, is their gastronomical preferences. Like, you look at a person, you know what they eat, and you know they're a white supremacist. You know what you need to do? Cut the food supply. Don't allow them to have white bread. Boom, white supremacism annihilated. And this is like the academia, like they're thinking. You know, by the way, I love it when they go on Twitter and they get like the blue check mark to show that they have prestige and respect because they're a professor. They're the academia. I am willing to bet, I am willing to put money on this, that if you were to meet Naren Young in real life and you'd say, oh, Miss Naren Young, she would turn around and she would correct you. She would be like, Professor Naren Young. How much money are you willing to bet that this is the case? Like if you call her, hey, Naren Young, Professor Naren Young. I am willing to put money that they would do this. Like and of course they would do this. I mean, they're a professor. They're the peak human intelligence. I mean, they're so intelligent that they're baffling people when they say stuff like this. But you just don't understand because you're a bigot. Who eats bread in the country? Anglo men. I come from a working class background. So Anglo men can't be working class? Well, I guess they can't. Because when you're an academic, you can stereotype. See, if I stereotype, I'm a bigot. But when the academics stereotype, they do it properly. We had brown bread because we were healthy. I think it shows a deep lack of understanding about who works in this country. They had brown bread because they were healthy. By the way, isn't it like beauty at all sizes now? I mean, I've seen massive corporeal manifestations coming out from the academia. And they were like, oh, the body mass index. They're a tool of horror used by the doctors in order to oppress morbidly obese people. Like, this is not medicine. This is actually the tool of the cisgender heteronormative patriarchy that's out to get people. And you shouldn't let a doctor weigh you and take your size unless you consent to it and it's absolutely necessary. But now apparently, no. Now it's like, no, you need to eat the brown bread, bigot, because it's healthy. I see. By the way, do the working class people drink Coca-Cola? Do they smoke cigarettes? I mean, that's not healthy. And the working class is the pillar of health, isn't it? I mean, we stereotype. I mean, every single one, all of the working class is healthy, no exception. I mean, the academic professor had said so. The academic professor of, what was it? Sorry, this must be a new field. I mean, it's so progressive. It's very advanced. Probably started in the 2000s or something. Like, it's a very recent area of study. The indigenous policy. Professor of indigenous policy. I mean, oh my God. Like, this is like studying quantum, like hyper quantum physics, not just quantum physics. It's like something that's a new field. You need to create an entire new field in order to understand what this professor is saying. So there's a deep intersection of race and class. Oh my God, race and class intersect. Everything intersects nowadays. I do think there are some politicians who understand what the working class looks like. It's not white Anglo men. In Australia, do they use slaves? I'm pretty sure, like, in Australia, in a majority white country, I am willing to bet that everything is majority white Anglo men, including the working class and the bourgeoisie and the university professors. But, like, I love how they came up to this conclusion because he eats the white bread. And by the way, they care so much about the working class. They weren't upset when they said that, hey, if you want to be working class, you better show papers. You better show papers, you working class lad, because if not, you don't get to have a job. Oh, no, that's fine. But when the man chooses to eat white bread, that's over the top. I mean, that's bourgeois. You know, like, when you go to a very prestigious fundraising, you know, like, what was it, the Metropolitan Gala, where I think it was like $30,000 per table. Do you know what they serve there? Caviar? No, white bread. I mean, that is the food of the rich. That is a... By the way, when are Marxists going to update their books? I'm really curious. I mean, it's not the conquest for bread anymore. We don't live in a medieval society. I understand that brown bread may be a little cheaper, but you can still choose. I mean, bread is not that expensive. Everyone can have bread. You know the story of, like, the poor person stealing a loaf of bread? That doesn't exist. There's bread everywhere. Unless you live outside the West, okay? If you live in a more difficult place where there's like a civil war or something, okay, fine, yeah, maybe they don't have bread over there. North Korea, right? Like, maybe they have problems having bread all over during a famine. I get it. But when you live in Australia, like, bread is probably not that difficult to get. So Professor Jung's comments were shared on social media alongside the second clip. I have to offer a disclaimer here. I've known him for a long time, and he was the best man at our wedding. What does that mean? Why? So, surely this is satire. No. It's not satire. It's the academia. I know it's difficult to understand. Like, you think this is funny. No. There's actually academic professors who make policy who think this way. Do you know why they can think this way? Because if you contradict them, you get canceled. That's why they can think this way. They can literally think that up is down and down is up. And if you say otherwise, you get fired. You get kicked out of the university. So they can literally say whatever batshit is saying crazy thing they want. That's the problem. That's why I even make this video. It's not that I care what he said. I mean, academic people are insane. I know that. But that's not the point. The point is that this is what you get with cancel culture. And this is why they need cancel culture. Because otherwise, everyone laughs at them. I mean, the moment they put this out there, the moment they say this and it makes contact with the real world, everyone is laughing at Naranyang. Professor Naranyang. Professor. Maybe they're going to be academic in a little bit, huh? Is it academic, the next stage after professor? But academic is an honorary title, so doesn't count. You don't call him academic. Nobel Prize winner. That's another one. Nobel Prize winner, Professor Narayang. That's the next step. Look at that expression. An expression of deep concern about the state of Australia. A country where the prime minister eats white bread. Horrible. I mean, that is the biggest problem when you think about Australia, right? Like, they're actually talking about putting people in jail if they say fuck in public. I'm not even kidding. Like, there's a new law coming up where it doesn't allow you to curse. Check out tomorrow's Wicked Stupid. You'll see it. Bad shit insane. Like, you can run away from Australia, go into China, and you have more freedom there. So, he could have said just your basic bread. It wasn't actually the only possible answer, and I think it's going to come back to haunt him. Yes, I hope it comes back to haunt him. How dare he? Honestly, like, all white bread should just become rotten in the supermarket. No one should buy it. It's kind of like when Jesus said that the person who's going to take a loaf of bread, or what was the exact thing, right? Like, the one who's going to moisturize the bread into this bowl is going to betray me. It's like, it's the same thing. Like, the person who breaks white bread is going to become a white nationalist. That's why there's still white nationalists in Australia, because the bread is selling. The white one. Let me know what you got. By the way, wasn't Hitler a vegan? And I'm willing to bet Hitler didn't eat white bread. Because, like, have you ever seen the atrocity that the Germans are making? My God. So, first of all, when you go to Germany, like, from what I noticed, most bread isn't white. It's brown. And they also put seeds in it. Like they butcher the bread. They do things to the bread that are unnatural. They put all these seeds in the bread, and it's like, ugh. Go to France. Eat a baguette. That is a real bread. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.